So I'm Marylou Hopkins. Like she said, I have worked with Dr. Thorne, and I also studied with Dr. Westman. Okay, so again, I have had 10 years of bariatric experience. I actually began in bariatric surgery. So I spent 4 years with a bariatric surgeon, actually kind of doing what I do today, coaching, helping patients as they follow their journey in bariatric surgery. What led me to find Dr. Thorne was after 4 years, at this point you have many patients, and these patients you followed from the beginning until now. They've gone through their class, they've prepped for surgery, they've had surgery, they lose weight, they feel fantastic, and then what happens? Well, I'm a practice what I preach nurse, and I was also practicing eating super small meals. Not gonna lie, I was hangry all the time. But I would eat very small meals, and I myself wasn't losing weight. So when I would go to my surgeon or whoever I would ask as far as, you know, what's going on, why are they regaining weight, what was their response? They're eating too much. They're not exercising enough. And I'm like, P.S., they're eating like this much? I am too, and I'm not losing either. So I started to look for another position. I wanted to stay in bariatrics. I actually looked at another bariatric surgeon's office. And then I came across this cardiologist. And not going to lie, after our interview, because I was interviewing him too, after I met him, and he handed me this piece of paper, and he said, "This is what I want to do. Tell me if you're interested." So I went home. My kids asked me, "What'd you think?" And I was like, "That guy's crazy. I'm not giving up my bread." So 6.5 years later, still don't have bread. But anyway, so I started working with him, and instantly, again, practice what I preach, I started this journey. I myself have struggled with weight my entire life. I think at my heaviest weight I was 220, and although I went up and down, I would always go back up. After I met Dr. Thorne, changed my foods, guess what? It stayed down. So what I want to talk about today is our perception. I love this picture. Anybody know what it is? The cloisometer, right? So my perception as a child was I couldn't wait to get to the North Pole. Found out, any children? Found out it wasn't real, it was heartbreaking. So I'm going to talk about perception, and the reason that I'm using this is because what I want you guys to understand is I want you to understand how our perception has a lot of power over how we function on a daily basis and everything. But the focus of today is about our foods. Now, sometimes, oh wait, I gotta make sure the volume's up. Sometimes, sometimes we believe all we know. So what our perception is of things is what actually drives us to know things, right? I found this video, and I know half of you, so I'm okay now. So you'll know where I'm coming from. I found this amazing video. Okay, so most of you know me. I like to do fun things. Sorry about the ad. But I'll tell you, this video is actually a representation of my perception about how patients feel after they take my class. Hold on. Now I've got to turn up the volume. Hopefully it won't be too loud. So again, remember, my patients take the class, I tell them all this stuff. They've been there for 3 hours. They might be hungry, deprived of foods, but I still feel like this is a great representation of what they think.
To do this to you, but I think you can help me pick up the slack on those edge sketches.
No problem.
I appreciate it. Oh, he's killing me. I need that lemon choo-choo going doubles.
Quick thinking yesterday with that special talents thing.
I feel bad for the guy. Just hope he doesn't get wise.
Well, if he hasn't figured out he's a human by now, I don't think he ever will.
good, buddy. Are you okay?
I'll be okay. I just need a glass of water.
My favorite part about that, how many of you have felt like that with diets? Right? You're trying to put those little elf shoes on. They don't quite fit. You're sleeping in the wrong size bed. So again, his perception was he was an elf. And even though he had all of these things happen, he still believed he was an elf until somebody told him he was a human, right? It's pretty funny, right? All right, so that's how I keep people awake for 4 hours. So let's talk about where we got our perception about what's healthy and what's not, right? So I'm sure many of you know, everybody know the food pyramid? I know all my class does. So let's talk about the food pyramid, and you guys that are my patients, please don't yell at me. I didn't realize this was another food pyramid. This is the original food pyramid, okay? So I got this off the guideline for, from the 1970s. Can y'all see that? I have to correct something. So in my class, I start with this, and I say, okay guys, do you remember the bottom portion of the food pyramid? Yeah. What is it? Oh, fruits, vegetables? Nope. Bread, pasta, rice, and cereal. I always get a gasp on that one. But I always say that there was 5 to 6 servings. I didn't know they were recommending 6 to 11. Wow, is right. How many meals a day do we eat, like normally? Like normally, we're eating 3. Can you imagine having 6 to 11 servings of bread, pasta, rice, and cereal? You'd have to have like, what is that, 3 servings at least a meal? So again, our perception, we need to eat 6 to 11 servings of bread, pasta, rice, and cereal a day. Now, hold on. There's more. Don't forget that around your 6 to 11 servings of these wonderful grains, you need to have 2 to 4 servings of fruit. You need it. You need to have 3 to 5 servings of vegetables. Dude, my plate, I need one of those serving trays. Okay, now also, maybe not meat at every meal. Let's minimize that. And if you do have it, please make sure that it is fat-free. Chicken breasts are great. Dairy, 2 to 3 servings. What kind of dairy? That's so gross now. All right, now fats. So look at the fats, all the way at the top. Not only was our fat taken out of our meats, but now our fats are actually in the same category. Can you guys see it? As sweets. That's awkward. Fats, oils, and sweets used sparingly. And do you guys remember what kind of oil you're supposed to use? Canola, vegetable. I think Crisco, though, might have been I think that one was bad, right? All right, so again, I like to say, at this point in my class, I'm usually like, hey guys, I'm out. We're done, because now that you see what your perception is and your recommendations were, now we know why we're all jacked. But I have to keep going. So, they want you to use vegetable oil. What should you use, butter? I was so grateful that my grandmother used to do her own butter, so I had it my whole life. So what's awkward is when I was putting this together, I really stay far away from the actual USDA food recommendations nowadays. But I looked up the new one. So this is the recommendation for the 2015 to 2020 dietary guideline. Isn't it? Actually, it's a little different. I will definitely show you that. Okay, so they didn't change the grains because God knows We need our grains, guys. All the nutrients you're gonna need are in those Fruit Loops with marshmallows. Now they did have a little bit, it looks like they added maybe a little more vegetable, maybe not, about the same. Fruits, they must have gotten a little smarter on that one, decreased them a little bit, not much. I'm pretty sure it's hard to see the yellow line that apparently is our fats and sweets. And then they did up the dairy a little bit, because if you see over here, it's 2 to 3 servings of dairy. They went ahead and gave you, I think, a little bit more, maybe not too much. And then don't forget to eat lean meats, beans, peanut butter. Here you go, guys. So if your perception is driven by this, what do you think about when you hear one of us talk about the foods we recommend? Right? I actually went a little bit further because the nutrition guidelines are super confusing. I kept reading through it and trying to figure out, like, what is it actually saying? And it didn't make sense at all. They back them, like they kind of do circles when they're talking. So I broke it down for you guys. So again, today, this is not in the 70s. They recommend that you, if you're a male, female, it's a little different, right? Because they want us to eat slightly less. I eat more than a man. Okay, so males, you're going to have 2.5 to 4 cups of vegetables a day. Thank you, mother. Females, only 2.5 to 3. You are going to have 2 to 2.5 cups of fruit, dude. You need your fruit. There's a lot of stuff in there. If you don't have it, grains, guys, grains. 6 to 10 ounces for guys, 4.5 to 8 ounces for females. Dairy, 2, that's actually the same on both, 2.75, 3.25. Meats and beans, 5.5 to 7 or 5.5 to 6. So I added it up. What is 6 to 10 ounces of grains? And they had this wonderful little chart that I got to use as a comparison. So 1 slice of bread is 1 ounce equivalent of the grains. So what that means, how many guys do I have? All right, guys, I have a question for you. Are you ready for this? How many of you here can eat 10 slices of bread, 4 cups of vegetables, 2.5 cups of fruit, hold on, there's more, 3 cups of low-fat dairy, and 7 ounces, only 7 ounces, of lean meat a day and lose weight? Okay, as long as we're on the same page. But do you understand this? Are you guys seeing this? Okay? Because I'm going to try to help you to change your perception today. If anybody has a problem hearing me, this was actually last minute. All right, guys. This is how people that don't do this perceive our food pyramid. And this is kind of our food pyramid. I really couldn't find a great one. If, again, many of you are my patients, this is actually not really 100% to what I recommend. But it had a good picture of everything, right? So it's not just bacon. There's bacon on here. You got some vegetables in there. Probably a little more of my fats and meats would make me happy, like if this whole section were that, and then we work our way up. But you got good fruit, or good vegetables, and instead of sugar and oil, vegetable oil at the top, we went ahead and said sparingly use maybe some berries or nuts. So the reason I bring this up is because, remember, perception is everything, right? So if you guys perceive that all we're going to do is eat bacon, 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 and that's what you like, then you're going to love this. But if you perceive that and it's not what you like, you're really going to struggle, right? When you change your foods, all you're going to say, trust me, hear it all the time, 6.5 years, dude. I can't eat another slice of bacon. Well, don't. But again, I don't know if you guys noticed this. I totally stole it. I think you're supposed to label these things and tell them where you got it. I didn't. It's okay. Good job to the internet. Real food. How many of you know what a real food diet is? All of my patients better be raising their hand or you're out. Right? So again, I'm talking about perception, and the reason I bring this up is because there is a difference when you perceive something like keto, Atkins, paleo, right? You have these pre-misconceptions about bacon, and it could alter things, okay? All right. I would say any questions, but I'm not asking now. Okay, so our wonderful food pyramid gave us some recommendations about saturated fat. Everybody good? Are we supposed to eat it? No. Heck no. Stay far away from it. Actually, if anything, there was 0 saturated fat in that, right? All right, I should ask the experts, right? Am I? But what I found interesting was on the new 2015 to 20 guideline for saturated fats, when they said avoid saturated fats, they give you these examples of things. Do you guys see this picture? Yeah. Do you guys see what the example of saturated fats are? That's jacked. They said an example of saturated fats that we'd like you to avoid looks like a Friendly's ice cream sundae. You guys remember Friendly's? Yes, I ate there a lot too. And then a burger with cheese and a bun. So when I saw this, I was like, well, heck, they must agree with me because I don't eat that anyway. So if that's their version of saturated fats, is that what we eat? No, sorry again. Our version of saturated fats is natural and real, right? So our version of saturated fats are meats with fat in them. It's the skin on the chicken, right? Heavy cream. You know what I would do with that little picture right there? Everybody knows what I would do. Take the bun off. Please don't give it to me to begin with because I want all the cheese I can get. I don't want it sticking to the bun. And then instead of that ice cream sundae, I would go ahead and I'd have me some heavy whipping cream. I'd drink it and maybe whip it up too. Right? So that would be my saturated fats. Coconut oil, MCT oil, things like that. That's our fats. They don't mention that in the food pyramid. Okay? So remember, if your perception is that saturated fats are bad because they told you to avoid it, and then you come to us and you hear that you're supposed to eat saturated fats, how do you feel about it? You're crazy. You're crazy. I get that all the time. Now, not just at work. So, absolutely. Like, you get that all the time. You're crazy. I can't do that because if I eat that way, I'm not going to be healthy. You say you work with a cardiologist? Is he crazy too? So again, we're working on our perception of what we've believed all of our life, and not potentially, it's wrong, okay? Okay, now guys, listen. Exercise, how many of you believe that you have to exercise to lose weight? Oh, fantastic. Oh, sorry. Okay. Only have a few. All right, where did that come from?
The exercise industry.
Well, now that's not a joke. Like, I totally want to open a gym because nobody ever goes. It could be an empty room, and people are like, yeah, I have a membership there. But our perception of exercising to lose weight came again from our original nutrition guidelines. And it is so disheartening to see patients come into the practice and when you ask them, Do you exercise? Everybody think about that for a second. If I were to say right now, do you exercise? How would you feel if you had to answer that out loud? Right? Ashamed. I heard ashamed. Perfect. That's what it is. You're ashamed because you say, oh, I have a gym membership. I've had it for a year. I just haven't had time to get there. Right? Or I say, well, listen, I'm not exercising yet, but my plan is, let me tell you something, guys. For 4 years, I saw bariatric surgery patients come in, have surgery, lose weight, and not lift a finger. So if they had to exercise to lose weight, well, how is that working? Right? Now, the reason I bring this up is because it is shameful if you don't exercise, because you feel bad. Because your perception is that if I don't exercise, I'm not going to lose weight, I'm not going to be successful, I'm not going to be able to sustain this. But you can. Now, if stress affects you, guess what? You're stressing yourself out trying to get to the gym when you don't have time to do it. So think about that perception, because I really, really push that my patients understand that exercise is not for weight loss, end of story, but exercise is good for your cardiovascular health. I'm sure right now I might look like Lisa if I went and did some push-ups or something, but I just can't. I don't have time. So again, just understand that it's great for your health, but if you have to do it in your mind to lose weight, it's probably not going to work, okay? And if you think that you have to do that, then it might change your progress when you're just changing your foods if you can't, right? It's all perception and mindset. Oh, and then my favorite part is today, their recommendations for exercise in the guidelines. It's strong evidence shows. They don't even say it in there anymore. But back here, the best and simple way to lose weight is to increase your physical activity and reduce the fat and sugars in your diet. We got fat and sugar again, right? All right, now take a second, guys, and think about this. What do you think your perception would be about what's healthy and what's not if there was no food pyramid? You wouldn't know what to do, but potentially you wouldn't be afraid of fats, right? Potentially those saturated fats that you eat and keep you satiated, you'd be like, oh, well, these are good to me. I enjoy these. Do you guys think you would be deathly afraid of not eating a banana because you might not get your potassium in the avocado that you eat? Just wondering, throwing it out there. It's a question I hear. What would your expectations be for healthy foods? Right? Don't you think that it would be real? Don't you think that you'd be like, I've been eating this. It's giving me a lot of gas. Had some GI upset. I don't think that's good for me. I'll go over here and eat this stuff that doesn't. Right? So if you guys get anything from me today, it would be to try to erase what you know from the food pyramid. Right? I'm sorry, it stinks. So interestingly, I wanted to talk a little bit about our perception of diet. When I started in bariatric surgery, I can't remember why exactly, but I remember looking up the definition of the word diet. And it was not Jenny Craig. I had no idea. So apparently, it's just what we eat. Our diet is what we consume on a daily basis, right? Well, now let's think about the word diet today. Our perception of the word diet today, number one is deprivation. How many of you love deprivation? I sure don't. Constantly being hungry. How many of you feel that a diet is short-term? Right? You better not raise your hand. You're one of my patients. this. You know this.
Well, that's not a diet, this is a way of life.
Oh, that's my girl. Okay, short term, what about sustainability? Are diets sustainable? No, right? My favorite part is when people say, yeah, I tried that. I did it for a while. I lost weight. I did great. Then I gained it all back, and then I gained like 20 pounds more when I went back to eating regular foods. Duh. Oh, and then they say, you know, I really should diet at all, because if I diet, then I'm going to gain back that extra 15 pounds that I... So, and this is another big one. We all know how to diet, right? Anybody? Well, good, that's why we're all here. But having said that, think about that for a second. If you're not here, if you're out there, okay, you haven't heard of this, you've been dieting in many different things, your thought process is, I already know what to do to make this work for me. I just can't do it, okay? Or when I do it wrong. And then what do you feel like? Crap, yes. How about a failure? A failure. Again, another negative impression that we have about ourselves, right? Because I'm doing all of these things, and then it's not working, and I'm the failure, not the food pyramid people. Don't talk about those. I get worked up. All right. So now let's go to dieting. And when we go to Weight Watchers or Jenny Craig or Ideal Protein, anybody done that? They tried to get me to do Ideal Protein. I was like, oh no, don't come near me. How many times do you hear them say, if you're hungry, eat? Anybody raise their hand? Okay, good. Just want to make sure I didn't miss it. Yes, they tell you to eat when you're hungry at Jenny Craig.
Yeah.
Do they?
3, if you're hungry, eat a snack. If you're hungry, eat a meal. If you're hungry, eat another meal.
Really?
Another snack.
I forgot. Right, isn't Jenny Craig? I think Jenny Craig is the one that has the packages, so they're selling you the food. Keep eating. Good. She won.
does the same thing now. They have all the 0-point foods, all fruits and vegetables.
Well, heck yeah, dude.
And we love our bread on Weight Watchers.
That's amazing. I love it. But one of the big things that I tell my patients at the class when they change their foods, if they're hungry, they're doing something wrong. If they don't feel well, guess what? You're missing something. I told you in the class, I know it was 4 hours, you may have forgotten it, right? So remember that, because when you change your foods, I can tell you, I have all the time in my class, I have people that come in and say, I already know what to do, I've watched everything Dr. Westman has to say. And I'm like, listen, okay, I studied under him. I'm just kidding. But seriously, that's the big thing. You know, that whole keto flow, I get it. I'm sure some people have it, but it's like everything else, and it should not be expected. If something like that, if you feel bad, there's something off, and we have to figure it out, which again, that's where I come in, right? So you're out there, you're not feeling well, all of a sudden, who's going to help you figure out what you're going to do? You guys even have, there's actually two different things that they work online now, right? So if you need help, reach out for it, because you really should be feeling awesome. Okay, how many of you have had family or friends or heck, a stranger on the street ask you what you're doing to lose weight? Oh, good. Good, great. All right. You know what's hilarious? When you say what you're doing, you get this whole mirage of different answers, okay? Now, of course, you go and say, I'm doing Weight Watchers. And what do people say? Oh, I'm a lifetime member too. Ideal Protein. I'm telling you, tons and tons and tons of physician offices recommend Ideal Protein. It's awful. So if you say oh yeah, my doctor told me to do that. How is it? That sounds great. Yeah, I just don't have the money for it right now. I wasn't born rich. So, I can't do that right now. Now, if you say, I'm doing keto, what do they say?
You're gonna die.
You're gonna die! Oh my gosh! Dear Lord, help us. Do you have a plot yet? You should be ready, right? Because that is terrible, because all you're doing is gorging on bacon.
And cheese.
Oh, and cheese. Absolutely. Oh my gosh, vegetarian. Oh, yes, that's so healthy for you. I was definitely going to do that, but I really like my burgers, so I don't know that I can go full vegetarian, but I'm going to try a little bit. So again, do you see the difference here? Atkins, the poor little thing. Well, didn't he have a heart attack? Pretty sure my mom asked me that. Mom, look it up. There's Google. I had to add that one. The drinking man's diet. Oh, that sounds like a good one. I haven't tried that one yet. Now, what about real food? How many of you say that to people? Oh, good. This whole row gets gold stars. And when you say that to people, their response is, really? That sounds interesting, right? Do they tell you you're going to die?
Absolutely.
I'm sorry.
The worst thing you ever done for yourself.
Well, yes, but if you say real food,
Yeah, real food.
right?
Cream and wonderful butter, and wonderful bacon and sausage. And they said, you're going to be dead very soon.
Right, well. So I use real food because I feel like that it is less, right, commercialized, okay? Real food means that I'm eating real food. What can be wrong with that? Oh, yes. 2. Are you saying 2 like I got 2 minutes? Well, nobody told me about time, honey. I got more slides. Anyway, say real food from now on. Good gracious. Okay, let me see if I can shorten it. Yeah. What's more important? Okay, I'm going to do this one. And the reason I'm going to do this one is because I need you guys to understand that the perception of your weight loss is damaging. Okay? Worked in bariatric surgery all of those years, and do you know what they told patients after bariatric surgery?
Lose 50 pounds next month.
Beautiful. 10 pounds a month, 5 pounds. I mean, literally tell them exactly how much they're supposed to lose. What happens when you don't lose that? Do you see where I'm going with this? It is such a bad thing to put all of these requirements and expectations on yourself, and then it doesn't happen and you feel bad, right? So if you don't lose 10 pounds in a day, don't stress, guys, okay? Think about it like that, because you have to allow your body to respond in whatever way it needs to. If that's 1 pound a month, guess what? It'll be 52 pounds in a year. I hope I did the math right. I'm consuming so much less, shouldn't I? I'm sorry, consuming so much less food. Shouldn't I be losing more? Right? I love that one. Hey, look, I'm eating like none of what I was eating before. How come now I'm not losing faster? Guess what? Your body's your body. And it's going to do whatever it needs to be healthy and to get where it needs in its own time. Oh, plateau, for the love of God. No one has plateaued, all right? I don't care if it's been 30 days. Chill out. Do you know what a plateau is? It's like part of the food pyramid, okay? Get it out. What if, just by chance, your body is just taking an opportunity to adjust somewhere else? Maybe it's just not losing weight right this second. I had a patient the other day. She's been doing this for years. And she's like, 1 pound here, 1 pound. Great, she's fine. I feel good. Just a couple months ago, she came in, she dropped 4 pounds out of nowhere. 2 years into it. I was like, high five, what'd you do? Nothing. Okay, so what happened? she just lost it. That's where she's at, right? So be patient with yourself, allow your body to change, and stop using the perception that you have to lose this much, this fast, at this time, okay? I think that's all I can do there, and y'all don't, I'm good without that.
We have time for a few questions.
Well, I'd rather, no, I'm just kidding. Okay, wait, so life-changing, guys? Eating real foods that work for you, it's sustainable, okay? You can do this for the rest of your life, and you will feel good. You will find that if you eat bad foods, you're going to feel bad, okay? Eat more of the recommended foods, and you'll eat less, right? It doesn't make sense, but if you eat more, you will eventually eat less. You're the only you in this world. Do not compare yourself to anyone else. Understand that your body, again, is going to do whatever it does. And if you have an identical twin, you guys still have not consumed and done the exact same thing every day of your life. Your metabolism is different, right? And allow yourself to naturally evolve. Don't force yourself to do some restrictive diet that doesn't work for you, because all that's going to do long term is cause more damage. Allow yourself to change, allow yourself to feel good, and you're going to do great. I don't even know what it says here. With the right recommendations, guys, and the ability to listen to your body, you will be able to be a happier, healthier you.